It's move-in weekend. We're going to talk about that plus all the portal stuff here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show, a Hog Media production presented by Sleeper. That's Coop. I'm Jay. Thanks for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening. Wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to while you're here, please wipe your feet and like, subscribe, rate, review. Give us 5 stars. You don't think we deserve it? Go ahead and give us 5 anyway. Gifted. So on today's episode, we've got a lot of fun stuff to dive into. We're going to talk about, of course, this is that weekend for move-ins because it's MLK weekend. So most of these kids are moving into the new homes. We're also going to talk about the latest transfer portal pickup. We'll rehash an old one because we didn't really get to dive into it. Plus, Coop is winning because he's like the coolest person in the world. So at some point, we're going to dive into the depths of Coop being rich. So happy Sunday, my man. How's it going?
It's good. A little distance learning. I think it's the last distance learning for Broken Arrow Public Schools. My son, day off on Friday, day off on Saturday, Sunday, MLK on Monday. And so I mean, just getting my dad on all weekend.
Being pops. I love that. That just warms my heart more and more to hear that you are having the dad time. No, me, it's been a weekend of being at home, being around family, and cleaning. It's the long weekend, so that's always a plus. I get to get rid of a whole bunch of stuff out of my office, clearing up, putting together a Lego set here and there. You know, where is it? Is it this side? There it is. Yeah, right there.
Marvel.
My Marvel one. And actually, the characters bust out of it, which is pretty funny. You push the button and I'll start flying out. The doors fly off. It's like the craziest concept. But kids got it for me for Christmas, so of course, a smile on my face. So good to see everybody in the chat. This is our first Sunday one in a couple weeks. Had a lot of travel pop up on my calendar that I didn't realize. And I was like, yeah, and holiday. I was like, we got to get back going. So we're back on our regularly scheduled programs. I'm not going anywhere for the next few weeks, luckily. And so, yeah, we're going to make it happen. Besides that, Coop, let's go ahead and jump into the most important thing. Oklahoma got themselves another transfer portal pickup. So let me go grab this really quick. But first, of course, Jack Van Dorselaer actually committed after we recorded. Dropped a video on that. And you had some excitement. We had to remind people in the chat to calm down. But let's rehash that real quick. How'd you feel about it?
It's good, right? It's another big body. You get a little bit more bulk across the tight end room, just in general. I think somebody threw out a tweet about that, and I should have captured that, but I let it slip. But everybody got bigger across that position group. Jack's a younger guy who, we hashed it out last week. Dude who on the crucial 4th down play against Tennessee turned and Aguilar hit him in the face mask with the ball, and. And so it kind of reminded me of Bauer Sharp throwing an interception to LSU and the transferring to LSU, with us last year. So that's that crucial 4th down play. He's a young kid. He had a touchdown last year, a couple grabs, big body. So he's going to continue to get to work. And now since it's a official with Jason Witten, now on staff. And so happy to see what that Hansen, Beers, and Dorselaer, group looks like, and with the upcoming, some of the younger kids. So the tight end room is something to kind of be excited about for the first time in quite a while.
It really is. That's the one thing I think I appreciate the most is that I've had a few people already jump in the comments on a few videos I made on all right, ain't no excuses. It looks like we got real tight ends.
Yeah.
And with Dorselaer, who's younger, he's a redshirt freshman, if I'm correct. So he'll be a redshirt sophomore next year. Or was he a freshman this year?
I think he's a freshman this year.
He's a freshman. So him and Trinae Washington are both freshmen. Trinae will be a redshirt freshman. He'll be a true sophomore next year. So that's the good thing is you've got all this youth together, and you can't be mad about that. And so, yeah, I'm pretty excited about the room. I'm ready to see what Witten does with these new players, with Hayden Hansen, what he does with Rocky Beers, how he gets them going and blocking. Same thing with Trinae, Jack, as well as even, heck, John Locke is still here. He's not gone. Same thing with K McIntyre. You still got him, so you got a lot of tight ends now. You really think about it, like it's what, and then you got the freshmen
The
in
freshman.
in Ryder Mix and Tyler Ruxer. It's like, golly, we got
Yeah.
a lot of tight ends now, like a lot.
And some size. And that's the big thing is, I mean, bless Jaron Kanik. Like, obviously, he ended up as an all SEC tight end, which none of us saw that coming. We thought that, we would
Right.
get something out of him. I mean, he was leading the SEC and the nation for most of the year in receptions by a tight end. And so, but you get that, you're seeing it in the chat, 13 personnel, the 12 personnel, that's where you want to run. I like the goal line options because when you have the threat of John Montier running, you've got hopefully the stronger, offensive line and running game. You now can, if you see them, they're loading up, one of those tight ends can slip out. I think Hansen, what is he, 6'7"
Yeah.
And then Dorsalier is 6'5". So Beers is the shorter guy of the bunch, but I mean, you've got a lot of those options, and I venture to say that you might see somebody in an H back type of a setup, blocking tight end / fullback, kind of the old school way that we saw Braden Willis come out of. So I'm pretty excited because, yeah, like you said, no excuses. You got some talent in that room now.
You got some talent in the room. So yeah, like we said, no excuses. We expect for that room to be leveraged a lot more. A lot of multiple tight end sets. Definitely want to see that. In which I think that's honest. I think Ben Arbuckle does that a lot. I know that on NCAA 26, that seemed to have been a theme on the game. When in my offense, I always had tight ends. I'm just like, where is this coming from? I don't recall picking this
Yeah,
offense, but whatever. I guess that's just going to be the way things are going to be. Then we also got another cornerback to add. Now, we mentioned this on the last live stream. We talked about this Thursday night when I got back in town, and I was hoping y'all would understand how important this portion is. We're probably going to, at this point, with the strategy of the portal, a lot of the focus is going to be depth. We're going to talk about this,
yeah.
but I also want to explain something, but we'll talk about it after this guy. Here's another one. Prince Igioma. Igioma is what I think it is. I butchered it 30 times, whatever. I got to say it multiple times. I used to do this with Sammy Omasigo a lot too. That is just,
Yeah.
it's until I'm saying it consistently, I'm not going to get it right. But I digress. Prince comes from Mississippi Valley State. So yes, HBCU, smaller SCS school. Totally get that. What's unique about him, 6'3", roughly 190, runs a 4.440. But Coop, he's from Little Elm, Texas. So I think his freshman year, Mateer was either a junior or a senior. And he's also friends with Nigel Smith because Nigel Smith was
Yeah.
excited about him coming to it. So
Very.
he's got ties to the Sooner roster already, which is pretty dope. Bigger corner, great stats for a freshman. Think we got ourselves we picked actually a sophomore, my bad. We got 2 more years left. I think we got ourselves a really good rotational guy, mainly because he's 6'3" and he runs a 4.440, Coop.
Yeah. He's when you have got when you've got at corner, when you've got speed or length, both of those situations allow you, a misstep here or there. And you lost Davon Jordan. He was a guy who was getting quite a bit of reps. So whenever you brought a Cortland out or brought Eli out, Brent Venables was rotating in, a main 4 defensive backs, in the bulk of, crunch time. So I think that when you're 6'3", he's a longer athlete, the 4.4 speed, that's going to give him the option to, to just be in the area because 6'3" is something, right?
Can you teach 6'3"?
Cannot teach 6'3". You can
Didn't think
hope
so.
to kind of push people a few dots faster. But I mentioned this also is when you have great frames, great traits, athletic traits, and that you bring them with Coach Valai. Valai has shown that he's done well with some of these defensive backs. Seeing Jacoby
Yes.
Johnson continue to get better and better and better. Davon Jordan, same situation. I mean, that guy's transferring out to become a starter.
Airspace.
So with Prince, he gets the opportunity to come in here, compete for some of that rotation time, and you never know what the strength and conditioning program at Oklahoma paired with the coaching with Coach Falai. And I would not, I would not even hesitate to say, watch to see if he gets a rotation somewhere else, because if you get him up close to the 200 pounds, like that's, depending on, what they see from him tackling wise throughout the spring, maybe some cheetah, that's the secret sauce for Brent Venables is he's got a lot of these guys like a Reggie Powers, Michael Boganowski, a guy like Prince here that is going to have the capability to maybe slide in, play cheetah, be a third, maybe a nickelback, something like that. So there's a lot of options for him. And, the coaching staff saw something in him and wanted him here. And so now he gets this opportunity, and that's why the transfer portal exists for guys like this to get on in more of a national stage and be seen
Yeah.
by a lot of these scouts in the NFL.
Yeah, you see them moving up. That's a very common thing with the portal. I think that's probably the one thing about the portal that I think I appreciate most is the ability to move a player up and be able to get more opportunities and more visibility, all of that. And for him, like PFF grade wise, he was like a 70 in coverage, which is pretty darn good. In the 480 snaps that he played last season, 39 tackles, 21 of those were solo and 4 pass breakups, and 63 grade in run defense. That's kind of middle of the road. 70.9 on the coverage rating is actually much above average, which is good. I like
Yeah.
that about that for him, and I think that he has an opportunity, like I say, opportunity to contribute. He has 2 more years of eligibility, and the fact that he has ties with other players here kind of warms my heart. So we'll look through more of the roster and what all that looks like, because now the shift goes into what I mentioned before this is that Oklahoma's focal point, guys, and Coop, as I'm looking at this, it's now filling the roster with contributors. And the one thing you got to understand is you're not going to pay dudes big money to ride the bench.
Yeah.
You'll pay guys money to be a rotational guy, but some of these guys don't even want to be rotational guys. Like, I know that this staff, what they do, they're very honest with recruits. I've actually heard this from a transfer kid. They gonna straight up tell you, hey, we got a couple starters at these spots. Spots you want to be at, we got a starter. They're the incumbent. They not losing that spot. But we'll gladly bring you in. You can compete. You can also be a rotational piece. And if there's an opportunity to start in a year or so, you'll be considered for it. It's all based on how you practice. So they don't lie to the kids. That's why you don't see a whole bunch of kids just flocking immediately here. Some even we've gone after that had interest, they're like, dang, I can't take the starter spot. You can, but it's going to be hard.
You gotta earn it.
We have faith.
You gotta earn it.
Yeah, you got to earn it. And we have faith in the dude. He's probably going to win his spot because he knows the book. He knows what to do, blah, blah, blah. I say that specifically because I've had some people, I had one person in the comments talking about, doesn't feel like we're trying to spend money here in the portal and do all this, that, and the other. That is 100% correct. And there's a reason for that. Let's talk about that reason. Before we do that, Coop, let's talk about it. Partners here at Sleeper. That's definitely the wrong screen to show, but we're going to definitely show them some love. Coop, ain't you been playing some Sleeper over the last couple days?
Hey, playing the Sleeper, it's been a really, really cool opportunity to go in. We've showed how you do the picks. You can, you'll go through, you've got multiple options from NBA to NFL to other leagues. And so obviously we're sitting here at the playoffs, and beginning of the day, I obviously like promos, so I connected with promo, did my deposit, got some extra cheddar there, courtesy of Sleeper. I'm right now a Matt Stafford touchdown pass away from winning $1,200, based off my picks from this morning. Had had Ramondre Stevenson over a certain amount of rushing yards, had Drake May under 222 passing yards, Travion
Yeah.
Henderson under 44
Less.
passing
So you
yards
have it
or
less.
rushing yards.
Nice.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And
Yes.
so took all that. You pick these things, and it gives you the exponentials based off of what you want to bet. So if you can get a 12x or a 10x on a $10 bet, obviously that's making good money, especially when they're giving you some hookup. So again, if you see me start pumping my fist in the middle of the podcast tonight, it's because I just need one touchdown pass from Matt Stafford, and that was one of their promo picks too. On top of that, so I encourage you guys, use the link. It's down in the
Yeah, check it out.
description.
Yeah, yeah.
Check it out. You can do, like I said, if it's a random Tuesday night and you just want to be a degenerate and find a good way to make the Bulls Wizards game exciting for yourself, you can go in and make some picks and have a vested interest into the game.
Yeah, pick 2 or more players, more or less on the stats. Always more or less, and you can win a bunch of money. So check them out. Use the promo code UNFAIR. They're going to match your first deposit at 100% up to $100, plus give you $20 to check them out. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleepers Terms of Use for details. So this is why I was talking about what the person was asking me questions about as the promo shows up in the chat. Good job, game. If you're listening to the audio version, by the way, this isn't a podcast. Search Sooner or Later Sports. You'll see me and Coop's face. We have an audio version that shows up for those that want to listen to it. I usually post it after the live is done. I can download it and I can push it over. So check it out if you want to get in on that action. But besides that, though, Coop, this is why I said what I said about the spending. And it's in the comment section. We had the perfect statement here by my boy Stevie. Retention is expensive.
Yes.
Retention is just as important as acquisition. So I'm going to show you this roster. I made a video earlier about it, and I wanted to talk to you about it too, Coop, because I think that I really want to get your thoughts. And then me and John's going to talk about it over on Locked On probably sometime this week. But look at this. This is what the roster looks like. So for the key for everybody, if it's pink, if it's like the light highlight, those are the new transfers that came in. The green are green people, as in freshmen. That's it. And then everybody else here are people that are on the roster, standard players. Coop, what do you notice about how our roster is constructed right now?
Well, what I noticed, first of all, is you look over at the defensive side and you've got 2 anythings. So basically, you've got 2 colors and 2 of the, Bishop Thomas and Cole Sullivan. We were going to need ourselves a linebacker. I think that we went out and I know there's some chat in the chat about Owen Heineke right now. He got a pretty favorable grade from the NFL, and I think that regardless of what happens, we probably would see him take his leave. Yeah. So, but with that being said, this is why we brought Brent Venables in, is for that bottom half of that screen, is Taylor Wine was getting $1 million offers from other places. David Stone had people throughout the entire season and after the season was over, including Miami, who's about to play, giving him some shout. Jaden Jackson, we had the PJ Adebawara, situation just a few days ago. Kip Lewis decided to come back from the NFL. These guys, every single one of these guys is getting a lot of focus. We wanted to upgrade certain areas on the offense, so that's where you're seeing a little bit more of the pink up there. But when it all comes down to it, you've got a young and expensive team when it comes to retention. Isaiah Sategna, if he had a desire to go somewhere else, Jay, that guy could have probably pulled $1.5 million to go somewhere else. Yeah. He chose to either go to the NFL or come back, and so he came back here. He's got some unfinished business. He's got the chemistry, and he has eyes on going and competing for an SEC championship and getting back to the playoffs. And his playoff experience was not great. He only had the 2 catches, and I think it was like 6 yards or something like that. So, when you have a ton of money to spend, that doesn't necessarily mean a ton of money to spend in the portal, because I can promise you the people whose names in blue with the white background back behind them, each one of those guys, especially on the first unit, they got themselves a pay raise because of their experience last year. Guys like Michael Fasusi and Ryan Foje, played a ton. And I think that's one of the reasons why after last year, David Stone, really, had some itchy eyes for somewhere else, was because he was a backup. He wasn't paid
Yeah.
as a starter. He came in, he proved it. Now he's paid as a tier 1 starter on the defensive line.
Yeah, and I get, like someone mentioned in the comments, wanting Kyle Parker from LSU instead of Trail potentially, but to me, Trail is 6 foot 200 pounds and a senior coming off a 800-yard season and 5 touchdowns. I think I'd prefer that, the veteran, right? Because more so, he's not going to play, and I preach this often. You'll probably hear this when I get on Locked On and talk about it as well, because I really like to emphasize this. This staff likes their recruits.
Yes.
They don't alienate recruiting high schoolers. That is their focal point. They bring in more veterans when they need veterans, but everybody behind a lot of these players, freshmen, redshirt sophomore. Well, Jermichael was a transfer, so he's in. He'll be a junior next year. He'll be playing up. But besides that, it's all young players behind there. Nothing but young players. Elijah Thomas, freshman. So that's why if we had maybe decided to retain a couple other players, we would have, you probably would have had more. You'd have more of them actually closer to starting than the actual transfers coming in. But they knew that they had to have bodies. I mean, Parker Livingston, thank goodness he's played a lot. There's your vet. But overall, like as you mentioned, Coop, and I've talked about before, the staff like their players. So if you look at the defensive side, you've only got 2 players that I think really is going to be playing like immediately. Like I think Bishop Thomas is definitely going to get some run, probably around either going to beef him up at nose or he's going to rotate with Stoney, or Stone may move to nose and he'll rotate there at DT with Nigel Smith. Cole Sullivan, it's because you needed another linebacker and you needed one a little bit more athletic.
Yeah.
There you go. And he's young. So you got him with Nesta, who I think James Nesta is going to play a lot this year. I actually think Marcus James is going to end up getting a lot more run than we expect behind Kip, because I think that they feel like they're ready. That's why, like with the Sammy only had a year left. He left so he could start because he wasn't going to start over Kip or over Sully. Kobe was the same. Owen Heineke had got the starting spot over him and more of the snaps in comparison. So he wanted to go somewhere where he was going to start and focus on stopping runners. He's going to be able to do that up there at Northwestern. But the biggest thing here is you really only need to fill 2 spots. Everything else are players that the staff feels like are ready to play. Davon Jordan sucks. That was one. Him and Malik Hawkins were 2 that, man, that sucks. They're young talents that you were hoping would play more in the rotation. But again, Eli's only going to be a junior and Cortland's a sophomore.
Yeah.
Right? You got a lot of young dudes playing. So that's kind of where that comes from. So getting a Dakota Fields who's willing to rotate and refine his game, that's big. Getting Prince, who's younger but also be able to rotate at 6'3". So imagine him with Jacoby Johnson out there, 6'2" and 6'3" corners, keeping up with everybody. But that's the thing to keep in mind. So in time, as they age, you got a lot of your players playing with a small sprinkle of everybody else's. And honestly, if you look at Indiana's roster, that's exactly what they look like. They're literally James Madison players with sprinkles of transfers that they needed to fill spots. They figured out what they needed last season, and they filled those spots this season.
Yeah.
Pretty good strategy. We're in the same trajectory. The difference, though, is the offense has to get going. And unfortunately for BV, he didn't have it like Sig, who walked into that job with all of his assistants and position coaches from like 4 years or 5 years in a row. BV had to start scratch on the offensive side a couple of times because he's had 3 offensive coordinators. If Levy was still here, it wouldn't look like this. Let's put it that way. Yeah,
and I mean, Shanahan having that relationship, you keep that steady. And I mean, it's call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
After Jeff Lebby moved on, that was a bad hire by bringing in Seth Luttrell. I don't think that Seth should had zero, opportunity to be the offensive coordinator here at Oklahoma, but I think they should have gone through a little bit more of a process like they did when bringing in Ben Arbuckle.
Yeah.
you were behind. I mean, look at the offensive line. You were behind a bunch of children. They're grown ass children, but they are young.
Young.
Fasusi the entire year. I mean, Sexton gets hurt like first or second play of the season. Fasusi, the job's now yours. Foje ends up
Congratulations.
coming in through middle of the year. Jake Michaela took over for Troy Everett, who also got hurt. You saw Heath Ozida trying to come back from the shoulder surgery in the offseason. And so EPL, ended up taking that position. This offensive line, I mean, Bill Beanbo is going to have a lot of eyes on him this year because we've seen the recruiting. We've seen the talent. We've seen the upside of all these guys. Now this year, you add in Marion Harris, who was at Arkansas. Arkansas had a great offense. He's a good guy to be able to slide in there at right tackle to compete with that. I think that's still going to be a battle between Foje and him. But
Yes.
you got to feel that by the fall, and I hate saying fall camp because it's like 110 degrees when they kick off for fall camp. But by time we get there, I mean, this offensive line, it's going to be on John Mateer's eyes, and the offensive line is how far this team can go this year. We know the defense is going to be good. David Stone hits the portal this year. He's the number one player in the portal. I mean, I will just say that out loud. As a D tackle who was an all-conference guy, he is going – I mean, he would be the number one player. Jaden Jackson probably be in the top 3 or 4 also. Taylor Wine, I know that Tennessee wanted to give him a bunch of money to come up there. So we spent money on retention. We've built this program, and I want to end my rant with what you said is if you get the reputation of ignoring the people that you're recruiting out of high school, then you're going to have tough conversations. That's negative recruiting that's going to come back at you. So if you look at what Brent Venables has done, especially on the defensive side, but now, with the offensive side, with the young offensive lineman, somebody can come to Jake Cruel at the end of his cycle and said, hey, I mean, you go there, but they're just going to portal in somebody to start in front of you. Like, do you really want that? Or, how does that look like for you? Because if you come here, we're going to put you in rotation from day one.
Yep. The way BV does it, they rotate a lot on defense, which shockingly a lot of players like too.
Well, it's hard because, I mean, you look at what was the Denver Buffalo game in the yesterday, and shout out to my Broncos. It's a bittersweet advancement, but one of Buffalo's defensive backs gets hurt. He comes out, new guy comes in, and what do we always say when you're watching the broadcast and you see like a star player go out on defense and they bring in a backup? Like, go right after that dude right now. And what happened? Denver threw a bomb, went right at him, game-winning touchdown. I mean, it literally, like, you have to have these guys rotate in because you don't want to throw in a dude who hasn't played in 6 games. And all of a sudden he's out on the field covering, Cam Coleman, now at Texas. Like, you don't want that. So you need some of these rotations, and you need these guys to be able to prove it in the spring and in the fall that, hey, I deserve snaps. And when you have that, Jay, competitive depth, it puts you in a better position just all the way around.
And that's what you're looking for. You want to be better. And that's what matters. And Kyle, you asked the question. I get it. Why did we pick up the tight end that dropped a big wide open pass against us? He was a true freshman, and he's good, and he's talented, and freshmen make mistakes.
Go back and watch that play. I mean, we had Isaiah Satania drop balls. We had Deion Burks drop balls. We've had tight ends drop balls for 3 years. But that pass hit him right in the face mask. It hit him right damn near, like right in the smack dab in the middle of the face mask. So, of all the weapons that Tennessee had, that was the play that got drawn up. Like, if he catches that ball, I mean, do we think of him any different? Maybe he has 10 catches on the year instead of 9.
Yeah, that's true.
6 instead of 5.
And as you mentioned, he and as mentioned by Stevie, he can block. He's a really good blocker. He's a willing blocker, and he's solid at it. And so for us, the mindset isn't that, I mean, we were chasing perfection, but you're not going to get perfection, right? People are going to make mistakes. They got to get better. And that's okay. We picked him up because I think they think he's good. I think Witten liked him as a player. And I'm gonna give Witten a shot. I won't bash his pickups yet.
And freshman. Let's say that again. A true freshman playing. Ball hits him in the face mask. It happens. There's lots. I mean, you could go back to any of the Sooner greats. I remember several drops by C.D. Lamb. I remember several drops by Sterling Shepard. Yeah, unfortunately. But anyway, we won't talk about the Cowboys because this is not a depressing podcast. But no, it's you go after a guy who has great measurables, and you hope that if he becomes a great tight end, it's here at Oklahoma under Jason Witten instead of at Tennessee, and we get to see him.
Yeah, the depressing podcast makes me laugh when we talk about the Cowboys. But no, Kyle, yeah, no, totally understand. Yeah, he's young. That's you want to take advantage of the fact that he's young. And he's talented, and yeah, I mean, that's a good question to ask. Why would we take him? I know they don't judge players off of their highest highs or their lowest lows. They try to see what's in the middle because that's what you're probably gonna be consistently. And I like JVD. I think that he has, like I said, he's a willing blocker. And to me, you get a willing blocker at tight end, you're winning the interwebs or whatnot. But yeah, Portal was been good. Portal makes boy happy. We're not done yet though. Classes, I think enrollment last day is end of this week, I believe, for the spring semester. And since that's the case, or maybe Tuesday, because I know that LSU's is Tuesday. And if this is move-in weekend, then it's probably next Tuesday is the last day to add classes. So I expect us to still be busy grabbing whatever last players in the portal we want to go after. This is actually when you kind of do some bargain purchases because these kids have been in the portal. They're trying to find homes. Maybe talented teams probably be like, well, we already filled that spot. You took too late to get in. Or if you were tampered, then you've got a home. But if you weren't tampered, they're going to move on from you. So we're doing good as far as that transfer portal. I think we got the players we need. Like I said, when you look at the roster, and that's why I popped this up so y'all can see it, you've got a lot of what you were hoping for. We can have it. Now, let's talk about something else, though. I think that it'd be fun to talk about move-in day because I actually want to understand from you, Coop, what players have got you excited for that's coming in. So thank y'all for pulling up. Please hit that like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe and hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our videos that come down. If you listen to the audio version of this, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever you prefer. We're there. Heck, YouTube Music, you can find us there. Rate us, review us, give us 5 stars so people know that we exist, and share. Why? Because sharing is caring. Coop, it's move-in weekend. And so, of course, Oklahoma always drops the propaganda videos of everybody moving into their rooms. You get all excited and warm and fuzzy and everything. All right. Transfers are in. You got freshmen in. Who you excited about on the offensive side of the ball? Let's start there.
I'm going to be kind of boring with this one.
You are boring. I knew you were going to do this to me.
Deacon Schmidt.
I want to fight you now.
I love Deacon. I mean, he has, he's been a great person to communicate with for the past year plus. This is a guy who got a lot of attention by a lot of teams, towards the end of the recruiting cycle. I mean, obviously Colorado wanted him. USC came after him. But this is a dude who I think could be the next guy who, really is going to be the next big tackle after Fasusi. He is going to be a hard worker. He is going to be a big grinder. And this is a Bill Bedenbaugh type of guy. Like, he wants to be pushed. This is a guy who wakes up at 4:00 in the morning to go get work before school, multiple times a week. And so pretty excited about Deacon Schmidt.
Yeah, so as Deacon Schmidt is his guy, everybody knows who my offensive player is. 100%, $100,000, pure excitement for your boy here. It's 100% going to be Jonathan Hatton. I cannot wait to see him on the field. So I'm not even going to pretend like there's anything else to say. As Stevie points out here, yes, Jonathan Hatton is the one. But you know what? I'm going to add a second because I think I should, because y'all know Jonathan Hatton is my dude. I'm ready to see what Jazir Rogers, Mr. Spider-Man, does from Delaware.
Spider-Man.
The big thing about him coming in was as a recruit, a lot of the recruiting sites and evaluators were saying it, man, if he was in Texas, it's 5-star. He's that talented and is it's one of those players that Penn State is infamous for getting, mainly because nobody knows they exist because they up there in the up in the New England area, up in the
Yeah.
Northeast. You're like, oh, man, ain't nobody going up there in the cold. Duke and ball. He's good. He's he's an intriguing prospect. And so I think for me, he's probably one that I'm curious to see if he gets the playbook down and finds a way on the field. Like, we know that we're probably going to see we should see more Elijah Thomas. We should see some Manny Choice this coming season. If Jaden Pettit's ready, he's probably going to hit the field as well. But I think Rogers may be one that could surprise a lot. I mean, heck, Daniel Odom too. He's the top 150 player. But I really curious to see what Spider-Man does.
And staying on the receiver side, yeah. I mean, Pettit and Norman out of there. Like Pettit, this is another guy who you cannot coach that size. And Nagy pointed him out in during the transfer portal specifically. He said, a lot of people should be excited about Jaden Pettit, but I think that receiver room, come in. You got to learn the playbook. You got to be trustworthy, because I think that this year, one of the big reasons why we didn't see a lot of expansion into the younger guys was you got to be able to always have the right route on. So if you call a play and you run a wrong route and it's a timing throw, that's not good. You got to have that. And I would say this is with Trell Harris, he is a very, very good route runner. He is a guy who is going to be somebody that is, I think of a more juiced up Keontez Lewis. He's got a little bit more wiggle in his game, a little more speed, more flexibility. But yeah, now, if you want to come in and get on the field, you need to not have those mistakes. If you have a drop in practice, that's one thing. If you are running the wrong routes, you just can't be depended on. And when the offense was so bad 2 years ago, and at times this past year looked a little rough, best thing for helping John Mateer's eyes out is for you to be where you're supposed to be, so he's not searching for you.
Yeah, and that's a good one, Jen. And I've asked this question as well, but I honestly think he will this year. The question has been, will he play a freshman? It's really all about getting down the playbook and making sure that you're ready. Remember, this was year one for Arbuckle as well, understanding not only these players, but understanding the conference. SEC's tough, man. Like, people don't get that. And I don't. I've said that this is NFL caliber DCs, and I stick with that because I've seen some of these dudes go coach in the NFL before. The coaches are there. They're tough. Now the players have to just be able to keep up with it. And I think that once you get a year under your belt and understand what's around you, you're good. Luckily for him, he'll be facing some new DCs who are still also getting broken into the SEC. You'll have Kentucky. You'll have Florida. Right? Those will be some new ones. If I'm correct, Mississippi State, but their DC is going to be Arnett, who's already been there, and that doesn't make me very happy. I don't like seeing that, but I'm not going to be too mad. Like, let me see, Oklahoma. We're traveling out there to Mississippi State. Georgia's going to be really tough, but Mississippi State bringing in one. South Carolina's made a lot of changes. Florida's new staff. Ole Miss is Pete Golding again. We know him. We should be okay. Missouri, I think they had a new OC, but not a new DC. So yeah, it's Texas A&M got a new OC because their OC went and got the head coaching job at Kansas State. Those changes can kind of help us a little bit more, just because we'll be more acclimated. So I think Ben will. His adjustments will be different this year in comparison to last. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and I think that with John breaking his thumb, that pretty much sealed the deal, because John probably plays in that Kent State game that Hawkins started. He probably gets some run with some of the younger kids, and with that, you also got to do better on offense, because when you're, if you're not 100% sure on, putting an Elijah Thomas out there this past year, when your offense is bad, like you can't have any more like negative variables out there. And so, yeah, I mean, let's say if Jasir Rogers comes out and balls out in practice and earns it, he's going to be out there.
Yeah, and it's nothing. Like I said, it's nothing against the young players or saying they're not fully capable. It's just you've got to be ready to play when that moment comes, and it takes time.
Yeah.
And we know that that's kind of the big thing with this staff is they want to put everybody in situations where they can be successful. And the way you do that is you make sure that they're not in a compromising spot. But granted, again, like you said, like the Kent State game, you probably want to play more. Like this year, you'll probably see more against UTEP. You'll probably see a lot of the younger players play more in the UTEP game to start the year because the offense will probably be in a better groove and they'll probably be able to knock things out instantaneously. If I could get in and get right back out, which is what we're hoping for. So, but moving weekend got me excited. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah. Moving weekends got me excited. Defensive side of the ball. What young player got your juices flowing? Got you excited?
Brian Harris. I'm gonna stay on the line. I think Brian is another guy that is going to have a big opportunity to compete for some of that rotation. They want 6 guys out there, in that D tackle rotation. You know who your front 2 are. You've got other guys who can come in there too. I love Brian Harris. I think that you get him up over that 300 mark, and it's going to be a good thing for him. I think that he has got a very, very, very bright future.
Yeah, I know Jay Krell's probably the one I'm going to do. I got to throw my names on there. I was going to say on defensive line because Krell's going to be a beast. I would not be surprised if he gets on the field early. Like, for real. Jay Krell is beast.
And he's a freak. You've seen him just put freakish things on tape. You may get him once, but he's going to come back with a learning curve. He learns very, very fast. But yeah, I mean, Krell's a guy who hopefully you see late in the year getting some of those 3rd and long reps.
Yep, he's one that you don't want to see if you can avoid it because he's that talented, right? You don't want to see him if you can avoid it as another team. And I think that he's going to be one that's going to fight for a chance to play. Linebacker wise, was that Christian Moore, one of the late pickups? Him actually that entire linebacker trio, him, Jacob Curry, as well as Dane Bathurst, are 3 that may be our next 3-headed monster. I think one of them is going to end up being your cheetah role later, I think, and then you'll have a middle line, your Mike and your Will. Like when I saw him in this video, I'm like, oh, I kind of like what I see out of this Curry kid. It looks a lot bigger than I thought he was going to be. And of course, there's your boy Brian Harris. He's a big kid, but seeing the rest of them, oh yeah, I have a funny feeling that linebacker, that trio of linebackers we picked up, I think they're going to surprise a lot of us, similar to way the trio of safeties did in that trio of corners, which unfortunately we didn't keep all 3 on both. But you've got one starting at corner, and you got your 2 safeties. Well, one's a cheetah with RP3. You got them all back. That's some good stuff right there, Coop.
Yeah, and let's just be honest. Jacob Curry is a Brent Venables linebacker.
He really is.
That is a guy. He is what I really, really think Brent Venables wants, from the get-go. That's who he wanted. That's who he wanted, this entire time. We stayed after him. And so you bring him in, and now there's a big, that's what he wanted Jaren Kanak to be. But Jaren Kanak was not a linebacker, specifically in high school. And he tried to take that raw athleticism and teach him. Well, Jacob Curry is a linebacker. And this is a guy who is this is a guy who usually goes to Penn State and is just an absolute headache, when it comes time to the run game. So yeah, I'm with you. I got a lot of respect for what we've done on the defensive side. You throw in guys like Matthew Nelson, Derek Johnson, cornerback out of California. I mean, there's a lot of guys to be excited about.
100%. And yeah, Curry is one. I mean, I know Ohio State was, as a 4-star, Ohio State was knocking on his door at the end of his evals. In the evals, he finished top 400, and Rivals had him as a top 300 player, 15th linebacker in the country. Ohio State was knocking on his door hard. Like, hey, big head. You were seeing the calls from Auburn, Florida State. I mean, he had a lot of SEC offers and Big Ten because he's from that area, right? Like, he's another. Oh, actually, he's from Florida. So, but you get him looked at and evaluated by a lot of these Big Ten schools. They usually look for linebackers that can stop the run as much as they can stop the pass. So, yeah, he's gonna be fun. But Megatron is gonna be nice. Is Christian Moore is gonna be, because he likes to hit people. I see him hitting the field probably a lot faster than others. Not saying that others don't like to hit people, but this dude has this thing. He has the Reggie Powers the third thing where he puts together a highlight reel of him just leveling people. That just gets me excited because I go back and rewatch the South Carolina hit that Reggie did as well against Bama. Same thing with Michael Boganowski's hit against Illinois State. I go back and Temple. I go back and rewatch those all the time. I'm just like, gosh.
And
just thug teardrops every time.
And Megatron, you're going to see him probably out there on special teams, and people will remember this name, but a young linebacker who made his way and made his name known on special teams was Ronell Lewis. Ronell Lewis just absolutely just flying down and just trying to decapitate, kind of what you see from Boganowski on every day. But that's probably where you're going to see him on that kickoff coverage, coming down and just absolutely thumping some guys. So pretty excited about that.
Yep. That's what we need. We need guys that will thump. Okay. Let's wrap up portal. What needs do you think we need to add in? But first, thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. Where else do you think we need to pick up? Because me personally, I think we probably need one more arm in the quarterback room, so that you got your 5. You got one that could be a scout team, a good scout team guy, because we'll have a lot of young arms in there. May want one more arm there. That's probably to me the biggest need. Maybe one more running back, but I think we need to add one more arm to go with probably one more defensive lineman. What you thinking?
Yeah, I was gonna say D tackle. If you can find somebody else who wants to come in at linebacker, that's probably
a good one,
probably one. If you can find kind of a backup cheetah, because that's one spot where I'm, do you expect a guy like Nesta to rotate that in? Because who's back behind Reggie Powers? I have a feeling that we're going to see a 4-person kind of cheetah safety rotation. I think it's going to be, Peyton Bowen. You're going to have Reggie Powers, Boganowski, and then Omarion Robinson back there. I think those guys are going to be in that 4. But I don't know if there's just a really, dead set, this is who we put back behind Reggie at the cheetah spot. I think that you're going to see a lot of different guys kind of rotating in. I mean, with that spot, you have to be able to be good in coverage, and you have to be able to come up and stick. And I think that's where you saw Sammy Omosigho kind of, just have a tough time last year, is because the coverage skills just really, really lacked. And he had the linebacker run, he had the cheetah run, but you need somebody in that spot, because that's a very, very crucial spot to this defense. So maybe, like I said, defense tackle, linebacker, maybe a backup cheetah.
Yep. I say linebacker, yeah. I could agree with you on linebacker. And Kyle asked about running backs. I do believe running back-wise, X-Rob would be a junior. Blaylock's a sophomore, will be a sophomore. So you probably won't get another back to come in. Once you see Hatton on the field, if he hits the expectations that I expect, it's going to be hard to get him off. So you have three dudes that could probably rotate well.
And both those guys, Torrey Blaylock and Xavier Robinson, are going to be rehabbing in the spring. And so Jonathan Hatton may be out there competing, kind of like how Torrey was in the fall, maybe competing in a very, very empty room. Now, I would like to have somebody else out there, maybe a 2 or 3 other guys on running back rotation so that Hatton's not taking too many reps in the spring. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard to get somebody worthwhile at running back.
It is. Yeah, especially when you got 3 backs that, because we've seen Torrey get his 100 yards. You know that when he's healthy, he's going to be a problem. You've seen the same thing with X-Rob. When he ain't got busted up in the knee, he's going to be a problem. That's the only reason why you didn't see us really go after one. You got a junior at running back, you got a sophomore, and you got a true freshman that you're very excited about. So, not too shabby. I think we're a lot better than most people think. We've put ourselves in a really good position.
And we got Lloyd Avant, or I'm not sure if it's Avant or Avant.
I think it's Avant.
But he has, this is kind of your Sam Franklin, from a couple of years ago, somebody with some good production. He is not he's not a tiny guy. He's, 5'9", 5'10", 190. So get him in there. But yeah, that's probably where you're going to stick as far as the running back room.
Yeah.
And hopefully Andy Bass. Yeah, Andy Bass. I see it in the comments. Andy Bass has just got to be available. And he's that's been the biggest issue for him in his career is the moment that he came back from the first injury, he got one on the other leg. And so, this is probably his last year here if he can't stay healthy. And so, you got to hope that he gets that health.
Yeah, that's all you need. You get healthy, you're good, right? You're not going to hear much on Andy Bass. I don't know. He's on the team. That's basically all I can say about Andy Bass. He's on the roster that I've seen. Like, let me see. When I pull up the roster for everybody, pull it back up again that I put together. Yeah, Bass is still. I mean, I don't have him on here, but he's still there. I don't know how. For me, I need to see Andy Bass healthy. Then I can say much because I know that he was a problem for him in practice, and then he was running scout team quarterback because he played quarterback in high school and he was balling, and it's when he tore his ACL a second time, and so we see him healthy. I think I'm Gucci. I think he'll end up seeing some snaps because you could do some Wildcats cool stuff with him, but need to see him healthy. As of right now, though, these are the backs that I expect to see a lot of. I expect to see a lot of Haddon. I expect to see a lot of Avant. I expect to see some. I think the Zephyr Walker is going to be one of your practice guys to start, scout team guys. But him, Gabe, Sawchuk, and Andy Bass are really those 3 are really going to be doing a lot of that, honestly, to start. But from there, good question here from going through some of these questions. Pierre, he tore his ACL again. What was that? Right before the Navy game. Yeah. And so he's gone for a full year. After a second one, they make you sit a full year. And so now he's at a full year. We'll see what it looks like here in the spring. Michael asks this good question. Coop, how would you rate the offensive line going to 2026?
How would I rate it as of now? I mean, you've got every piece that you want. I think that the issue was what happens at right tackle. Last year, you had Simmons rotating in. He had the concussion issues. So he was good for a half to 3/4 of a game, and then it was, what now? So I think that bringing in Harris from Arkansas, let him and Foje fight it out. I saw his tweet that said that he was coming in. These guys need to be working on the run blocking today, tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I'm pretty sure that that's what's going to happen. You're going against that defensive side of the ball. You need to keep guys healthy because one of the biggest issues with our offensive line last year was the fact that you had to come in and bring in all these freshmen, and it's really, really hard. Like no matter what the 5 stars are, you go back and look at the 5-star ratings for year after year after year. What's the kid over at Alabama, the left tackle, that is probably going to go extremely high in the draft?
Oh, Caden Proctor.
Caden Proctor. Caden Proctor came in as a freshman. Caden Proctor took his lumps as a freshman quite often in the SEC. If you can rotate these guys in, that's the biggest issue. Is some of these guys, they can't come off the field during spring and fall practice in order to be coached up because there's nobody else out there. Nobody was healthy. Everybody was either coming off of a surgery or being protected from having another surgery. And so I think that the running game is going to, I mean, like I said, the 26th season is going to be based off of Mateer's eyes and the offensive line. I think Mateer's eyes get better with the offensive line's production. This offensive line was good in pass coverage or pass protection throughout this year. You had Fabichi Wewu, one of the top-rated offensive linemen in the country.
Yep.
You have you have year 2 with most of these guys together. You work up, you get some guys to rotate in. You get this good depth, and you want to have 10 guys that you can count on the offensive line. And being healthy is the absolute most essential portion of this, because if you have another situation where you have a Jake Sexton, Jake Taylor, Troy Everett, missing significant time, that's just difficult to work with, because then, I mean, you got nobody back there behind, and there's no chance for Bill Bedenbaugh to pull a Brian Foje off to the side and say, hey, this is what I'm seeing. This is what I need you to do, because you can't stop practice to coach the right guard.
Right. You can't.
Multiple times throughout the day.
That's the most important thing. So to me, my thoughts, the fact that Foje, Fasusi, EPL, and Michael got some time together, the line will be better this year, this coming season, than it was last season, as this past season was much better than it was the season before. Like, the quarterback actually had time to throw the ball. We just got to get the run fits and run game going. And that's going to improve now that more people know the playbook. You got all these young dudes that are ready to go. It just takes time sometimes, especially when you're dealing with the changes you have to make when it comes to these SEC defenses. But I think it's going to be better in comparison to it was last year. Pierre, I want to point out about, I don't think it was the same knee. I think it was actually the other one, but it was the opposite. Thank you, Coop, on that. And thank you for the $2 on this. To add to that, though, with Andy Bass, he was practicing in November. He was warming up before the game against LSU.
Yeah.
So he's out in the field warming up before LSU is a big deal. Yeah. Huge deal. So that means you may hear about him in the spring, and we'll see where that goes or whatnot. But I do think that line's going to 100% be better. I know that Mateer is getting a lot of training. I'm hopefully they've got him a nice QB coach, a nice legendary one, to get him going and get him right. And all he's got to do is make it happen. Just keep working.
It's the eyes. If you fix the eyes, you fix the feet.
Yeah.
If your eyes are all over the place, your feet are going to be all over the place.
Yep.
And that's, I mean, you ask any quarterback coach, if you have any offensive coordinator who is, assessing what's going on with the quarterback, you got to fix the eyes. He's got to know. I mean, John Mateer knows this playbook. He needs to know absolutely, he needs to have, you saw so many times that he had just kind of went out there and was a football player. And,
yeah, he's up there playing. He was just a baller. He was a gamer. He was being a gamer the whole time, right?
And so, but that's it. And the best way to help a quarterback out, a good running game and a good tight end game.
Yeah, and that's what Hayden Henson was for Florida. He was a safety net type tight end. He wasn't a guy that needed to go vertical. He was a dude that he quickly get to the flat, get to his spot, and he's right there ready to catch the ball. Rocky Beers is the dude that you throw across the middle like you did Kanik, and he'll run it all the way for a touchdown. The other thing that Rocky Beers is good at doing is blocking. He's a willing blocker. So that helps. Kanik was a willing blocker. Kanik wasn't a very good blocker just because he only had so long in doing it. Yet at the same time, he still was one of the top receiving tight ends in the SEC. So that does matter for something. Fix the eyes, fix the feet. Exactly, as you mentioned. And yes, Chuck, a lot of training. What I've been told is Mateer has been working with some prominence to get him ready for this coming season. He'll continue to do that through the spring as well as in the summer, and train with his receivers. Lloyd, this is a great question. Incoming freshman coming in that could surprise you that nobody is talking about. Offensive side of the ball, we'll do one on both sides. I think the one that's gonna probably be the surprise, that's probably gonna surprise us all and do something, and we're gonna be like, "Dang, I didn't really think about it." I think it's gonna be Daniel Odom, and I say that because he is a top 150 player in the country. Nobody's really talking about him. We're excited about Pettit because he's a ginormous human being. Spider-Man because his name's Spider-Man, and we've seen him do some ridiculous stuff.
Yeah.
And then you go through everything. Jonathan Hatton's already got his. The Stephen Walker, people talk about how solid he is, and he has. I think his testing is probably going to go very well when he gets here. I think Daniel Odom's going to surprise a lot of folks. Good friends with Jaden, and we because Jaden O'Neal commits, then they're close friends. He commits. Jaden O'Neal decommits, goes to Florida State, but then he still stays. I think he's one that's going to surprise a lot of people on the offensive side. Coop, who are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean it's him. I think that he's one of the guys because I mean I may have to go back and look at the recruiting class, but I think that when CD Lamb came in, not a lot of people were talking about CD Lamb. CD Lamb found himself. He was rated kind of like Daniel Odom. I mean, and Daniel Odom 6'2", 175, probably going to be playing about 185, 190 by the time the season hits. But he is a guy who can move. He's got decent body size. But everybody is excited about several of the others, and so I think that that's a pretty good one right there.
Yeah, defensively, that one that no one is talking about that could make waves.
I got mine.
I might have to go with two, the Jandro twins.
They're working out right now. If you know
they're
anything
literally
about the
lifting as we speak. They're probably in the gym getting to work out. I say that because the biggest question that I've heard people ask about them is, do we think they've peaked in their physical form? Because they're both pretty jacked. They're some big boys. I don't think that they've peaked, and I think they're going to be very much fun to watch this season. I think they may take somebody's head off too.
Yeah. I mean, when I did the interview with their dad, JP, that was one of the funniest things that he said was when they went on a visit, something was being held up. And so the guys went and just asked if they could go work out with the team. And so when BV came to grab them, he was like, well, they're working out. So, but mine's Derek Johnson Jr.
See, he was one I was thinking about. I had a feeling that you was going to probably pick him.
DJJ, I mean, his pops played in the NFL. It was a cup of coffee, but still it was in the NFL. He played for the 49ers, and a couple other teams. This is a guy whose dad's taught him how to do it. He has his dad's been his coach. So as far as like the technique and everything, Derek Jones Jr. 6'2", 170. I think you get a little bit of strength on him. He's a guy that I could definitely see in that 4-person rotation, and they've already proven it that it doesn't matter if you're a freshman or a senior. If you're making plays and you're on the defensive back room, Jay Valai is going to have you out there. So I would say that by midseason, Derek Johnson Jr. is probably going to be seeing some snaps when it actually matters.
Yep, exactly. Pierre Gaines, thank you again for the $2. We appreciate that. Any news on making changes to the medical staff? I believe they're probably evaluating that again and making some more changes there. I know they're constantly evaluating that. I do expect changes to the strength and conditioning staff. I do expect some adjustments there. The rumors have been flying around the socials about Schmitty possibly retiring. If that's the case, then I could see them making more changes there. Schmitty's been around here forever. His contract is actually up this year. So January 31st, unless he gets that bad boy extended, contract technically up. That case, I don't know what's going to look like.
And they did some tinkering around with it before this year. And I will say, we saw some of the same folks dealing with injuries. I mean, I think Isaiah Autry-Dent's not here anymore because of the injury situation. Jake Taylor, Jake Sexton. You have Heath Ozaitis been in and out with some shoulder stuff, and so but I think Ozaitis probably the only one that that's still here. I got to
Mm-hmm.
think that there's always going to be people who want to see the changes, but I mean, like, let's go with just the injuries. We didn't really see a ton of injuries last year like we did the year before.
Nope. This was
Everybody
a
was
lot
pretty
lighter.
healthy. Now, outside of Keontae Lewis bouncing his dome off the brick wall, like that injury is going to happen to whoever was playing. Doesn't matter what the strength and conditioning staff is on that one. But yeah, so I mean, they've already done some tinkering. I think that they're going to continue to do that. But we've always said, we saw a lot of it on the offensive side of the ball, and this defense is going to do that to people. We saw people walking off the field almost every single week when facing this defense. Somebody was coming
It's
off the
true.
field, and I mean, you saw in the Michigan game, I mean, there were like four. That's what happens when you play a very, very relentless, defense the way that we do. And
Yeah.
Isaiah had a kind of degenerative issue in his with his knee. He had a surgery, had it cleaned up, came back in, and because the offensive depth was extremely thin, Isaiah was playing a ton of snaps, and he took a
A little bit
helmet right to
overworked.
one of those knees, and it re-injured the knee. And so,
Yeah, that's what happens. It's unfortunate. But I love him to death. I think he's gonna be. I think he's gonna. I think. I think Dent's gonna be fine out there at Mississippi State. I think Levy's gonna really get him good and get
hope
him
so.
going. He'll be closer to home too, which is always a plus. You can't beat that. Good question here. From Lloyd. Thanks for the $2. We really appreciate it. Which tight ends in the portal are you excited about? Man, you ain't said none but a word. No, but for real, Rocky Beers. Having a tight end that can get vertical again is going to be a great addition. If he can just replicate what Kanik did and possibly get a touchdown and from that, I'll be ecstatic. And honestly, he's built to do that. I think he can get you close to what Kanik got you last season. Like, I'm very excited about Hayden Henson just because I know what he can do. JVD, same thing. But if there's any of them, I'm really excited. Rocky Beers. I think Rocky Beers is going to be an instant impact guy.
Rocky Beers, kind of reminds me if we didn't have the linebacker saga with Kanik and he just kind of popped out of there. Rocky Beers, I think, is going to be one of those guys who you always forget about him, and then he makes a big catch.
Yep.
So, I mean, I will say that, I think he has got the capability on blocking. I told Gabe Eichert, I said, hey, man, it's going to be exciting for you to, finally review tight end film once again. And he agreed. So, yeah, we've got three different guys. But, as far as like a fan, it's going to be hard to the tight ends just aren't going to be an absolute, deficiency, for this team, weak point for this team. They're going to be able to hold their own, and you're going to be able to line up in the personnel and block straight ahead. I still don't think that you throw a Rocky Beers or a JVD just one-on-one against any D ends coming out of the SEC. But at the same time, I mean, these guys are going to be able to not just be an absolute zero when it comes down to the blocking.
Right. And you need that. You can't have a player that goes out there again, I'm like, this isn't bashing Kanik because dude had some blocking moments. That block against Michigan where he turned that big linebacker to the side. It's like, oh, that, my friend, is how you're supposed to do it. It was just the perfect spot. Like, he just couldn't do it consistently. That's kind of where you start running into those struggles. It just wasn't consistent. But overall, I was happy with what we got out of Kanik. We just need to do something that way we can get this run game established. So, all right, let me see. And I think the Tennessee kid, JVD, he's just young. That's it. Remember, he's a true freshman. He's 25 class. And we finally got a tight end out of Texas, first one since Austin Stogner, which is wild that someone pointed that out. Thought that was a very good nugget that someone Did Kanik get invited to the combine? I'm not sure.
Don't know if I even tracked that.
I haven't seen anything.
But I don't know if
from him,
I don't know if the combines have invites yet.
That's a good question. I know the bowls, like the senior bowl and stuff, but I haven't seen anything. I'll have to dig. I'll do some looking, Scott, and we'll talk about it on another episode. Jenna points out in the house med staff is okay according to Papa Dent. It's the external staff. Then that's kind of what Coop kind of mentioned. External folks was kind of where the issue came in, the cleanups, the follow-ups. I'm not sure. I stay out of that if I possibly can. And good question here. You would think, well, actually in the question, you would think that Kevin Wilson could help him. And I actually expect that. Kevin Wilson's going to be working with a lot of these a lot closer. I'm assuming he's going to probably be very hands-on on that. Hanson is also from Texas. Yes, he is. So, yeah, you got two tight ends. I think, Hanson is. Hanson's a senior, though, so he's about to be gone. But JVD will be here for a few years. He's young, so that, to me, got your boy pretty excited. So, all right, we're going to get out of here. Just over an hour. We appreciate y'all pulling up per the usual. Hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. We'll have more, so we'll be back Wednesday. Portal should end at that point. We'll start evaluating the roster, who we think is going to start, who we think is going to win battles. We'll do all the fun stuff like we always do. But
Jay, who you got?
Tip, huh?
Who you got tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night. That's a good question. You know what? That's a great one.
What's your take on this game? Because I feel like I've got a pretty good.
I don't know. And that's where my take goes. I have no clue. I think Indiana has been dominant against people that's like, okay, wow, they're actually dominating teams. Was kind of surprised. I think they're good. I think they're a very well-oiled machine. I think Miami's probably a little bit more physical, but I think that's a challenge that Indiana wants, and I think that they may actually stand up. My question is can Miami get a run game going, and will Carson Beck not turn into the pumpkin that he was when he was the quarterback over at Georgia? He may actually come out there and dominate. Malachi Tony may do something. The run game may get going. I don't know. So if I'm going to have to pick a team, I'm probably just going to go ahead and ride with the favorite, with Indiana winning their first ever national championship. But I would not be surprised if Miami won that in like a close battle. Because their defense is good.
I mean, obviously, they are. And it boils down to Indiana wants you to – they want you to make the mistakes. And we all know that Carson Beck is more than willing to do that. I think that you saw the past couple games with Indiana. You started pressing. You really just grinding and pressing. Man, if Miami can get out there and get the run game going, I think that they can put some pressure on Mendoza. But I will say this. I think it's Indiana probably wins this game closely. But I think it can turn into a blowout if Miami starts making some oops, and which is going to have to be one of the this Indiana run's probably going to be the most unforeseen and dominant run that we've seen since that LSU team with Joe Burrow.
Yeah, they beat the crap out of everybody, and that's the thing that impressed me throughout the season. And I was not trying not to discount. I was like, okay, let me see you do this against some other teams. And then when they battled it out at the Odson Zoo against Oregon, I was like, okay, I think y'all may be serious. And then when they really quieted Ohio State in the Big Ten Championship, I was like, all right, screw it. I'm on the train for Indiana now at this point. And they just beat the crap out of people. They were beating the crap out of people in the playoffs. I'm like, what the hell? This is crazy. And the game is in Miami.
It's in Hard Rock. It's Hard Rock.
It's at the Hard Rock Stadium. It's where they play. It was perfect. Yeah. They got luck. It's kind of like LSU playing at the Superdome for the Natty. It's basically just like that, right? Like, it's like, dang, how do you just go up the street? You take an hour drive to go play in the Natty. Like, we played Florida State in the Orange Bowl. That's pretty close for Florida State. We played USC. I think we played USC either at the Sugar Bowl. I don't think we played them in Pasadena. I think we played them at the Sugar Bowl.
No, it was Sugar.
It was Sugar Bowl. And then we played Florida at the Orange Bowl. So, every time we played in a Natty, we had the luck of playing these teams basically in their backyards, except for USC. That was a disastrous game. But, yeah, that one is up the street around the corner.
Hey, and I'll say this Indiana game reminds me of those early Patriots teams. It
Yeah.
is. Listen, Ruben Bain is a bad mother, but when you've got the coaching that they've got, I mean, they have faced some defensive ends, you know, in every stop. But I want to see, can Malachi Tony and can they get that running game going? Because I think that if Miami can limit or completely eliminate mistakes, but Indiana has forced people into mistakes. It's been like clockwork, and they're playing loose. They believe they can win, and the belief that you can win, that goes a long way. And I fear for Miami just in general. If Miami were to win, I think that place would be a party for about 3 straight days without any shutdown. But yeah, I think Indiana probably does this again. I still don't trust Carson Beck to completely be mistake free.
Yeah, that's the thing. And Indiana does a really good job of knowing what you're doing, and they jump routes. They watch a lot of film. People are trying to say they cheating. They watch a lot of film. They say BV cheats. You can tell that we
It's
watch a lot
film.
of film. We have an idea of your tendencies and we follow it. That's how BV's always been good at it. He sees you making adjustments. He's like, okay, this is probably where the adjustment's going to go. Go check it. And boom, next thing you know, you're stopping it. Why? Because they grind film constantly. And that's kind of how Sig taught these boys. It's to grind that film.
And they're
Get good at grinding
25.
film.
And they're
Yeah.
24, 25 years old. So the
Exactly. You got
port
some grown-ups. But yes, the portal does open for them after the game. So 7 days,
for 2 weeks.
you'll see Indiana as well as Miami players that have 7
enter.
days for the portal to enter or whatnot. And so that'd be the last group of people portal-wise because they played in that natty game. A lot of their players have already kind of for the most part left already anyway or entered their names. So yeah, I don't expect too much movement from those two teams because they've already picked up the players they wanted and they're gonna probably grab some more or whatnot from there. But yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be a fun game to watch. I'm gonna be tuned in. I don't know about y'all, but I'm gonna be tuned in. Stevie, no real news yet. The Polynesian Bowl, there really wasn't much that came out of that yet, besides all the players that we already have. The coaches are on the road right now. You know what? We'll talk about that on Wednesday. We'll make sure to make a point. Wednesday's episode live, we'll go through the coaches' visits and all of that stuff. That way we can dive into it. So, but thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars, and we will see you all on the other side next couple of days. Peace.